Hello, we are live and welcome to Ryan J Reviews Live. We are on Facebook and YouTube, and so you have the opportunity, if you're watching us live, to ask questions and make comments. I'm joined right now by these amazingly talented people involved with SuperYou. It's a brand new musical that is playing right now at Skylight Music Theatre. Tickets are available at skylightmusictheatre.org. It's playing through June 18th. But before we actually chat with these people, these amazing humans, I want to first get you all up to speed on the show and my reaction to seeing it recently, opening night at Skylight. What's fabulous about SuperYou, it's an incredible show. You're going to hear me raving about it. But what's fabulous about this opportunity that we have is Broadway shows do what's called out-of-town tryouts. So before a show opens on Broadway in San Francisco or Chicago, it will have this experimental period where they might cut songs and write new songs and change casting, do all sorts of different things because a show evolves as it's in front of a live audience, right? We've never really had an experience to have an out-of-town tryout for a big, huge, amazingly new piece of art in Milwaukee. So kudos to Michael Unger, artistic director, executive director, Susan Varela, and Skylight Music Theatre for bringing an opportunity that is so rare and so incredibly entertaining to our theater community here in Milwaukee. In of itself, that's an exciting experience. But even greater is the show. The show itself is just super empowering as SuperYou. It's about a girl who turns to art as an outlet for dealing with trauma at home and at school. You know, art can provide escapism for us, whether you're just going to view it as an audience member or if you're actually creating art yourself. I know a lot of people, even me, you know, as a child, musical theater was a great outlet that I felt like was a lifeline for me. In the case here in the story, it's a story about a girl named Katie. And Katie, the kind of art that she turns to is creating her own comic book. And the superheroes here in this comic book come to life in brilliant musical numbers, musical comedy showstoppers that are like anthems and worthy of arena tours. I absolutely love it. Now, if you haven't seen the show yet, here's why you have to, okay? The story is hysterically funny. It is deeply dramatic, and the cast and production are all stars who have like seemingly descended upon Milwaukee from Broadway heaven. It's also rousing and inspiring. It's like Katie's journey is very universally relatable, and these songs make you leave the theater afterward feeling like you yourself are a superhero, like you could fly even without a cape. It's such a theater high. Check this out. So I can get up to the angels. I beg you to leave me behind. Just give me my peace of mind. I fall and I fall. I love it. Again, it's skylightmusictheatre.org to get tickets. It's a show you don't want to miss. The songs are phenomenal. This cast is amazing. It's also the only show where you're going to see Elphaba hooking up with Spider-Man. More about that a little bit later. In the meantime, I want to introduce you to who we're going to be speaking with today. Kennedy Caughell leads the cast as Katie. She starred in Broadway as Carole King in Beautiful, the Carole King Story. She was in Broadway as The Great Comet with Josh Groban and was the Elphaba standby in the national tour of Wicked. Melissa Jones is a Tony-nominated producer and investor who developed Broadway hits Come From Away, Jagged Little Pill, and Allegiance. And then there's Lourds Lane. She is the creator, book, and songwriter of the SuperYou musical. She's a savant on the piano and violin and an amazing singer and performer in her own right. Lourds, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm so excited to see you.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I am doing great.
You know, I told you this after the show. I know how talented you are. I did some research hearing that the show is coming to town, checked out some of these videos, but seeing the show, I walked out, I was like, this person's a genius. You are a genius. There are very few people who actually write the whole script and write all the songs, the music and the lyrics all together. Very few, and that do it so well. So congratulations on the achievement of SuperYou. Audiences are loving this. There's so many different styles. That's one of the biggest things people were talking about walking out of the theater opening night was that, there's pop, musical theater, there's rock, there's country. I understand how somebody can be a fan of all those genres, but how do you have the talent to not only write in all those genres, but write hits in all those genres?
You're so sweet. Thank you so much, Ryan. Oh, first of all, I have to shout out to our amazing team. We've got such a beautiful cast who are so brilliant and amazing. And we have an awesome creative team, a triad of women who support and lift each other, including our director choreographer Joanne M. Hunter, our music supervisor Wendy Bobbitt-Cavett, and of course you're going to speak to Melissa Jones. And so it's wonderful to have this women strong team. So as much as you say wonderful things about me, I have to shout out to our beautiful team. And you asked about the music. I have no idea. Sometimes I hear music in silence and it just comes through me. And I just feel really grateful that I'm able to be this channel to put this music out into the world. And sometimes I'm shocked at myself, like, wow, that was new and fun, and it comes forth, and I'm just really grateful to receive that, if that makes sense.
Sure. I mean, you're an artist. Everything makes sense. It's good. Let's take a look at the clip. This is a clip of the song "We Are Awake."
I am enough. I am loved. I am whole. We are awake. We are alive. We're the light that shines forever. We have a voice. We have a choice. We will live this world together. I am awake. I am awake. I am awake.
The audience roars. I mean, that's these are songs like people might not have seen the show before. None of us have. We're all seeing it for the first time, but immediately catchy. You're hearing this and you want to hear it again. I've been listening to the concert version you guys recorded during the pandemic, was it, or pre?
It was during the pandemic. We staged these socially distant shows on pickup trucks at one of the only drive-ins that was open in New York. And our team of superheroes just went out of isolation and did rehearsals in the pouring rain. And it was a really crazy time. But thankfully, we all came together to put out music about resilience and getting on the other side of grief and remembering your worth out into the world. And instead of standing ovations, we had honking ovations, and hands were coming out of the sunroofs and people were cheering. It was really surreal. Like I was on the truck singing. That was one of the most surreal things that ever happened to me. So I'm grateful once again for our team, because it was amazing that people were even willing, and we're talking about the highest caliber of people, seasoned Broadway people that came out of isolation to come and do these shows to uplift and inspire people during that time of shutdown and grief, right?
Yes, and that lack of access to live theater and things like that. So, it's amazing that you were able to break through, be inspired then, inspire others then. But I think it says even more of the strength of this show, the message of this show, and the catchiness of these songs, because now that it's post-pandemic, we are returning to the theater, and the way this is playing out to audiences. I mean, you had a song that went viral in the millions on TikTok, right? Which song was that?
To My Angels. And you really should talk to Kennedy about that, because I had innocently posted a video of Kennedy, who you'll be talking to shortly, during one of the rehearsals. and innocently wrote, "Hey, if anybody wants sheet music, just write back." And suddenly there were thousands of requests for sheet music. I was like, "Oh no." And I was like answering everybody and getting really stressed out.
Yeah. It's so
And then-
great. It's so great.
And then since then it was like, we just kept it going during the pandemic. And now we have fans all over the world who are covering SuperYou music. And we've been celebrating them for the last 2.5 years, every Friday on Fan Cover Friday.
I
People
love
just
it.
sing our music. So
And fans have traveled from all over to come see this production here at Skylight as it's developing. And from here, you're going to be going out to London and the West End, which is really exciting. In addition, though, to the show, some shows just have one hit song. You think of like Cats and it's like Memory, right? And the rest are fun songs or whatever. But like with this show, there's one song after the next. It's like that you just can't choose a favorite, I think. But
thank you.
there's also this movement. I heard you talk about the movement in the after party at opening night. You said that there's like a SuperYou movement. What does that mean to you?
People identify with someone, whether it be the journey of Katie, looking to find her own self-worth, whether it be the journey of I'm Amazing, who represents confidence, who represents standing in your power no matter what your body size, and remembering your bigness, whether it be Arise, who is all about wearing your scars with pride, or if it's about Seven, who represents truth and standing in your own authenticity, Blast, who represents resilience and the fire and the passion within you. It's like people are relating to different characters and different aspects of the story. And it's amazing to find out what people are resonating with the most, because it's always different. And it's beautiful to me and heartwarming to me that people can resonate with different moments,
It's so,
and so
true.
that's what's starting that movement is people are talking about different moments and relating to different characters, and people are starting to really personally identify with the journeys of different people in our show, which is wonderful.
It's so relatable. I don't believe in spoilers, but Lourds, we're going to have you join us back in a minute. I'm going to switch over to Melissa right now. Thank you so much. Stay with us. And Melissa, just as oh wait, I did the wrong thing. Wrong button. What happens when you're directing and hosting live at the same time? All right, Melissa, as Lourds was just saying, the message is so impactful and so universally relatable about, we all have moments where we're insecure in our lives, or we don't feel we have dreams, but we don't have the power to actually believe in them and go for them. And there's this great message about don't wait, create. And I think that can mean a lot of things to different people, but it really is inspiring. How much have you heard a response from fans and people who've seen the show about how empowered and inspired they feel after seeing this?
Well, what I love is that there's people from many different backgrounds, not just young, not just old, but like across the board, who have said things like, now I feel I have XYZ going on in my life, but I now feel like I have the power to do it. I think we even had somebody came up to Lourds after one show, and she had a woman who had been recently diagnosed with dementia, and she turned to her and said, I feel like I now have the power within me to fight this. And
wow.
That's the kind of thing that, at the end of the day, we want to create great art, but we also want to create great art that really inspires people and inspires them to take an inspired action for themselves, and to recognize that they too have their own power and capability of achieving what it is that they desire and what it is that they are, would like to accomplish.
Mm-hmm. How does producing this show compare to the other heavyweights that you've achieved on Broadway?
Well, I mean, obviously, as a lead producer in this show versus co-producing in other shows, it's a whole different ball of wax. There's much more involvement with this show than the others. And I was just lucky to have the opportunity with shows like Jagged Little Pill, as well as Come From Away, where I was an investor and also helped raise some money, but then as a full co-producer in Jagged Little Pill, and my first opportunity being in Allegiance. What I would say is that all of those shows I was very proud to be a part of, because each one of them has a really strong message and something important that I really believed in, that was important for people to hear. And so SuperYou is a continuation of that, but much more so, because when I got involved, I had just recently said, I want to be a lead producer someday in something, but it has to be a musical. It has to be told in women's voices, and it's got to be about something about creating uplift in the world. And I wrote that down, and I met Lourds a couple weeks later. So I thought someday would be, down the road, but it just came much faster. But I would say that, one thing I've learned is that the more intentional you are and the more inspired action and risk taking you're willing to do as a producer or any sort of entrepreneurial venture, because that's really what it is when you're, lead producing, the more you're willing to connect with the vision that you have, and you're willing to take risks and inspired action, the more you can affect big things, big opportunities happening, or, so it definitely, and I will just say that that's also the spirit of the show itself. So it's kind of like life imitating art. And that's kind of what we've been doing, especially through the pandemic.
Two things I'd like to get your comment on. You did a Carnegie Hall performance, amazing, of the show previously, just concert version. This is the first fully staged visualization and mounting of this production here at Skylight Music Theatre. What do you think of the sets? What do you think of the choreography?
Every aspect of this show is much bigger than what we thought we would be able to accomplish, because we came into this with so little time. And yeah, those sets, we thought we were going to be on risers. We only found out about this opportunity from Michael Unger and Skylight back in January. And we had to make decisions really quickly to do this. So we are just so lucky that this entire team, from our creative team, our cast, to the Skylight team, has all just been, is just an amazing group of people. It was like, the perfect time, right time. Everyone has stepped up and contributed massively without ego, total collaboration, and just being open to, okay, this is whatever it is. And it's turned into a much bigger production than what we had intended originally. So we are extremely grateful to Skylight for the opportunity, as well as our entire team, who have, gone well beyond the call of duty to creating something amazing, especially people like Kennedy. Oh, over here. Wait, which way am I pointing?
I know, right?
I'm backwards.
Yeah.
We couldn't have created this amazing, opportunity if it wasn't for amazing people like this entire crew and Kennedy and the rest of the cast, who are just phenomenal.
So fantastic. All right. Melissa, stick around. We're going to bring you back in a moment as well. But Kennedy, you are worthy of all the accolades your teammates are giving you. But let me just tell you, as a critic, that you blew the roof off. You brought the house down. All of those kinds of rave reviews that I could give you, you have earned. I have so many questions for you, but first of all, I referred to the Elphaba Spider-Man romance we get in this show. Your love interest is portrayed by Justin Matthew Sargent, who was a former Peter Parker and Spider-Man on Broadway's Turn Off the Dark Spider-Man show, which I had seen. What's spectacular about working with him on this show?
Well, not obviously he's pretty easy on the eyes. God. But he's also an amazing human being. And what's really nice is we've had the luxury of getting to work on this project for more than 3 years together. So we have this comfortability. And the one thing I will say about Justin Sargent, not only the one he's handsome as heck, but also he shreds, like his voice on these rock songs has this incredible quality that it's really like, I don't know who else can replicate it. He's just very unique in that way, but also as a scene partner, he's incredibly caring and very dropped in and centered. So as I'm dealing with multiple elements, he's always there to make sure I'm okay, which is actually invaluable in this business.
Mm-hmm. As you're complimenting his voice, I'm just thinking the same can be said for you. You were the one in the show where, and we all love it, especially when you're seeing a show for the first time, because, like when I go to see Wicked, which by the way, I've seen 46 times, I know I'm the chills every time Defying Gravity comes, but you're waiting for it, you're looking forward to it. SuperYou, I'm seeing for the first time, and I'm wondering, okay, when's it going to happen? Is it going to happen? Wait, we've got got a compliment here from you. Thanks for watching live. Brian Kennedy is a force. Make sure you see this one. I agree, Brian. Thanks for watching. And what's so great is you gave me the chills, the goosebumps so many times because of things like this. Take a look.
Fragmented, I'm fragmented. Another day goes by. Should I even try to open my heart? Fragmented, fragmented, fragmented. Oh, make me whole.
And again, like it's on my neck, and I'm sure everybody watching. I mean, you have several moments that you just bestow upon the audience with that. Quite a story arc. Tell us about Katie. Who is she, and what's her story?
Say that one more time. You broke up just a little bit.
Oh, no, no problem. Who is Katie, and what is her story?
Who is Katie and what is your story? So Katie is the protagonist that you follow. You follow her story. She is a comic book geek and turned artist because of her relationship with her big brother, Maddie. And you see life kind of hit her hard. And you see her find herself again through the course of the show, finding different aspects of herself and also highlighting the beauty of others through her art and learning to find her true self within her art, learning to empower herself against depression, anxiety, dealing with grief and loss. So finding your way through that to the light. And it's just a really beautiful message that I can't believe I have the opportunity and pleasure to tell that story every night.
Can you highlight a little bit about these co-stars that you have? There's 4 of them. These are your comic book characters that Katie has created, that they come to life and they sing songs. Each of them has a solo number in the show that is show-stopping, that is a complete story arc unto itself. They have their own stories in a full song. And you can't choose a favorite. They're so great. Can you just give us a quick rundown on who they are?
Yes. So first of all, these amazing, incredible actors that I get to share the stage with every day. So you find that these are people that Katie went to school with, and she sees something special in them. So she draws them as superheroes and kind of empowers them in her early life at school. And then later on, when she's older and they've since then kind of, grown apart because she moves away, you see the superhero that she animates them as adults, and they kind of become her psyche and her ethos, if you will, her id and her ego, talking to her through the show and helping her to heal. So you have Jenna Rubai, who plays our amazing punk rock, like screamo, fire starting superhero called Blast. And then you have Shelby, who plays I'm Amazing, who like her power grows every time she shows confidence. She grows and she stomps out her own self-doubt, and she's able to empower others. And she's our earth sign. So you have fire, earth, wind, and water. And then you have B. Thomas, who plays the incredible Seven of the Seven Seas, and she's the water force. She's also the force of truth. She helps Katie find her inner voice and inner truth that she doesn't always listen to. And then you have the incredible Ren, who plays Rise, who empowers her to rise above her own what's the word I'm looking for? Her own anxiety, like crowd anxiety, or feeling like she's not enough. You rise anyway, and she helps Katie to accentuate the maybe weird parts about her, but the things that make her special and unique. Yeah.
Right. It reminds me a little bit. Let's bring everyone. Let's bring Lourds and Melissa back in here as well. It reminds me a little bit about thematically The Wizard of Oz, in the sense that Dorothy learns at the end that she had everything she needed within her already, her brains, her heart, just as Katie does, but she's not tapping into it. So instead of going to Oz, she creates this comic book, and over the course of the show, experiences a lot of growth, and this is her journey in the story. And I think that's why it's so appealing too, is it taps into that kind of similarity. What do you find? Do you guys have a favorite moment in the show? Because I can't pick one. Do you each have a favorite moment?
I'll tell you one of my favorite moments, and I said this to Kennedy just literally yesterday. So she's singing unbelievably, right? And then this black belt, FYI, Kennedy is a black belt. She suddenly launches herself in this massive fight. I don't want to give it away, but it's like every time it happens, you just don't expect it, right? You just don't expect.
It's so true. It's so true, because there's great choreography in this show, by the way. There's Katie's mother in the show, who doesn't speak but does this great dance throughout and communicates so effectively that way. And the evil super villain in the show also doesn't speak but is an amazing dancer. I think we've got a photo of him right here.
Yes, the infamous one-handed front walkover.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Blake.
Great. Yeah, he's so talented. And then, but Kennedy, you do what Lourds is talking about. You have this moment where you start dancing, and I was so impressed. Like, you can see so obviously your technique. When did you start working in theater, or start doing? Were you a child actor?
Funny you ask. Actually, I was for a time. I did a stint in LA and worked as a child actor. I did several Annies growing up, but then my mom kind of brought me and my sister back home, and we had a very normal childhood, I would say, through late elementary through high school and even into college, which I really appreciate, because I learned how to become a human being during that time. But I was very fortunate. I've been acting from a young age. And then I'm fortunate enough that I actually turned back to musical theater because of Wicked, actually. I'm a Wicked super fan. But yeah, this show is so unique in the way that it calls upon each actor to use all facets of themselves. So you'll be singing, dancing, and acting, and sometimes doing a martial artist fight, and who knows what'll happen in the next version, like flying. So I'm really excited for it.
And Kennedy is fearless. Kennedy is totally fearless. Kennedy is ready for anything, and her personality launches. She's ready, and that's what's so wonderful about working with Kennedy. And we just actually had a meeting the other day with Paul Rubin, who's the fly guy on Broadway. And Paul Rubin created that wonderful Wicked moment that you love so much, and and Peter Pan helped fly Peter Pan, and he's plotting and planning with us to do some amazing flying elements, which we will not reveal yet, but
that's cool.
Big Matrix fight.
It warrants it. It's like if Marvel could transfer to Marvel movies could transfer to the Broadway stage. This is the way to do it, because there's such strong story, such great music, and then the visuals, and now you're adding effects too, is fantastic. Just as we're wrapping up here, I want to ask you what the SuperYou Foundation is.
The SuperYou Foundation is really, for me, it's like the heartbeat of everything that I'm about. It's a global nonprofit that I started, and it's all about connecting youth and adults to their most empowered superhero selves through music and art. And they get to declare their powers of resilience and truth and kindness and love. And it's just reminding people that we don't need fancy superpowers to be a superhero. We already are superheroes just by who we are, our authentic selves, and getting to know that. And we've empowered thousands of youth globally, and we are a small, scrappy nonprofit. But the mission of the nonprofit, it's very thematic to the themes of our show, and it's definitely my personal heart and soul. So I'm really grateful to have an awesome team there as well, who help to spread that mission of love and inclusivity and kindness, which is the bones of our show as well.
I love it.
And I will say, as somebody, I love seeing people in their capes every night. There are people who come in their capes, and it really jazzes me up. So
keep coming in your capes, and they're self-designed too. So that's
cool.
the beauty as well.
That's fantastic. Oh, Melissa, any last thoughts for audiences or potential audiences?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to come down and see a show that is, you could say, I saw it back when, before it becomes really big, and that's where we're heading. And coming here in Milwaukee, you get to see it here first, down at Skylight Music Theatre, and there is absolutely magic being made with this team. So I would absolutely encourage anybody who's any interest in theater or even seeing something special and uplifting, do not hesitate. Come down before June 18th.
I mean, that's around the corner. So it's like we are not extending.
That's what I was just saying. I mean, it's funny you say that, Melissa and Lourds, because it's literally what I just wrote is my outro for our interview today. But I'm going to repeat it right now. Thank you so much to Lourds Lane, Melissa Jones, Kennedy Caughell. Thank you, Caughell. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I love the art you're bringing to our community and beyond. SuperYou is now playing through June 18th. You seriously do not want to miss it. And just as they said, when it goes on to win the Tony Award, in my opinion, for Best Musical someday, you can say you saw it in development right here at our own Skylight. Tickets are available now at skylightmusictheatre.org.